In this video, we'll take a look at packaging your Unreal Engine project. After watching this video, you should be able to package your project into an application file that you can distribute to people and have them play your game. So let's get started. Packaging is a process that converts an Unreal Engine project into a standalone executable or application. This process takes all of the content in the project, turns it into a format that can run on a target platform like a Windows computer, iOS device, or console, and provides you with the executable file that you can share. Packaging can occur at multiple stages in the development of a project, like during production of a game, testing the features, distributing the game to players, and post-production, like when creating DLC and updates to the game. We recommend that you build and package your project often throughout development because this helps you test content across platforms to confirm expected results, identify issues in content or gameplay, and keep optimization and performance top of mind throughout development. When you decide to package your project, you need to select a target platform. This tells Unreal Engine how to build and cook all the content in a way that works on an intended system, such as Windows or a console platform. Unreal Engine supports packaging for different target platforms, like desktop platforms like Windows, macOS, and Linux, mobile platforms like iOS, iPadOS, tvOS, and Android, all major consoles like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, XR platforms such as OpenXR, PSVR2, ARKit, ARCore, and VisionOS. Packaging can require additional software and software development kits, also known as SDKs, like for proprietary software used to run on consoles. For example, to develop and package for macOS, you'll need a macOS device with Xcode installed. On the other hand, developing and packaging for consoles requires obtaining the source code and compiling Unreal Engine. It cannot use the pre-compiled version obtained through the Epic Games launcher. The source code to build Unreal Engine can be downloaded from our GitHub repository. Developing and packaging for some platforms such as Linux, mobile, and XR platforms may require additional SDKs and Unreal Engine components. Let's take a quick look at how packaging a project works and what is happening when you trigger it. To get ourselves familiar with packaging, let's first understand what a build operation is. Build operations are the various processes necessary to share a game project with players. These operations ensure that assets, code, and settings are compatible for their intended target platforms so that the process of shipping a game to multiple platforms can be simplified. Packaging itself is a build operation made up of multiple stages in the process of distributing a game. As an example, if we want to package our game to Windows devices, the build stage will compile the executables for the selected platform, in this case Windows. The cook stage will convert assets in our project into a Windows-specific content, optimizing them for faster loading times and improved game performance. Staging will copy the necessary files to run the game into a new folder, also known as a staging area. And lastly, the packaging stage will bundle the project into a distribution format that is native to the target platform. So the packaging build operation would handle those 4 stages. The last 2 stages are optional based on if you're intending to share and/or run the game on the target device, where deploy refers to the project being sent to the target platform where it will run, and the run stage launches the project on the target platform. Presets such as build configurations and many other options for customizing the packaging process can be found if you go to Edit, Project Settings, and Packaging. You can also enter this window by clicking the Platforms dropdown in the main toolbar of the editor and click Packaging Settings. These settings can be used to view and change options like custom build presets, build configurations, build targets, executables, localization, and more. Towards the end of this video, we'll go over a tutorial of how to package a project from scratch. But first, let's talk about cooking content. The cook stage can be performed as part of the packaging process, but it can also be performed independently as its own build operation known as cooking. Doing this can help reduce iterative builds when testing because the content will be cooked and ready for packaging on its intended platform. There are 2 methods to cook content for a project. The first method is by the book, which is the default option. This makes sure that the project's assets are cooked before packaging the project for its target platform. This process is slower and recommended for building and testing towards the end of the game's development. The other method is on the fly. where assets are cooked at runtime while the game is running when requested by the target platform. This process is recommended for rapid and iterative testing of the game. Let's try to cook content using these two methods now. For the by the book method, open the Platforms menu from the main toolbar in Unreal Editor. From the list, select a target platform which will only cook content for this platform. Under the Content Management section, click the button to cook content. A pop-up dialog will appear in the bottom right corner of the editor. This displays the cooking progress and completion or failure states. If you would like to cook using the on-the-fly method, in the Platforms drop-down menu, make sure to toggle Enable Cooking on the Fly, and then you can follow the same steps by selecting the target platform. When you cook content, Unreal Engine stores the content as a PAK file, also known as a packaging file. These files can then be further separated into smaller PAK files, and these are known as chunks. When using chunks, you can assign specific assets from your project to a chunk. This is useful for various situations, like when separating out DLC content or patches that you don't want included in the fully packaged project, and streaming installation since chunks allow for customizing the priority of content that's downloaded first. Now, finally, let's package a project to take a look at how this works. For this part of the video, we'll start from scratch and use a template project. We'll quit Unreal Engine and go back to the Epic Games launcher. Let's go ahead and launch Unreal Engine by using the Engine tile. In the Unreal Project browser, we'll browse to the Games category and select the first-person template. Let's pick the Arena Shooter variant. Feel free to change the project location and name to your choice and click the Create button. Once the project is open, let's set a game default map, which is the map that loads when your packaged project launches. It's required to set a game default map prior to packaging, since without it, there is nothing for the project to load at runtime. Let's go to Edit and enter the project settings. Under the project heading, we'll enter the Maps and Modes section. Let's expand the default maps heading and click the Game Default Map drop-down menu. We'll search for the level we want, and in the case of the first-person template, we're gonna want the Arena Shooter level. Next, we'll set up a build configuration, which determines how the project is compiled. Every project must have a build configuration set prior to packaging. In the Project Settings window, let's go to the Packaging section. We'll expand the project heading and check to make sure that the build configuration is set to development. If not, click the drop-down menu and set it to development. We'll be using the development configuration so that we can access the in-game console while playing the game on the target platform. For now, let's get started with packaging. Let's click the Platforms menu again in the main toolbar of the editor. For the purposes of this tutorial, we'll select Windows. In the menu, under Binary Configuration, verify that Use Project Setting Development is selected. Under Content Management, let's click Package Project. Here, we'll choose or create a folder to use as the staging directory. This will be the location on your computer where the project's packaged files will be saved. Once the process has begun, a pop-up dialog will appear which should say Packaging Project for the selected platform. In our case, that will be Windows. At any time during the packaging process, you can open the output log, which displays tasks that the engine performs during the packaging process, including logging errors. You can stop the packaging process by clicking the Cancel button on the pop-up dialog. Once the process is complete, you will see a pop-up message indicating that packaging has completed or failed. In the case of a failure, you can check the output log to find details of the errors encountered. Let's head over to the folder that we picked as the staging directory, where the packaged project files are saved. We can run the game by using the executable file, which will have the same name as the Unreal Engine project. When the project loads, you will see a windowed version of the level we picked as a game default map. You can now test the game by moving around the level and interacting with pickups. To exit the game, open the in-game console line by pressing the backtick key and type either quit or exit in the command line. Exiting a running executable can differ depending on what type of build configuration you use. For example, if you use the shipping configuration, which does not have access to the in-game console we just used, your project must include a UI option to exit from within the application, like an exit button in the main menu. In our case, we don't have that, so we're relying on the in-game console. Let's take a look at project distribution as well. Distributing and shipping refer to releasing your project for users on digital distribution platforms and occurs near the end of the development process of a game. Depending on which target platform you're developing for, many digital distribution platforms are available. For example, projects for desktop platforms can be distributed on the Epic Games Store or Steam. Alternatively, iOS and Android projects can be distributed on the App Store or Google Play Store. Each digital distribution platform has a unique workflow, set of requirements, and legal agreements for shipping your projects. You should review these requirements and necessary steps for each one you want to deliver your project to. And that's it for this video. We hope that this was helpful in learning about how to package your Unreal Engine projects to test your games throughout the development process and distribute them to the world of players. Thanks for watching.